full moon phase up to the last quarter, qualities and characteristics of this phase of the lunar cycle, and our practices, supports, practices, teachings. We're tensing up to relax into the manifestation of our vision. The full moon phase in our lunar cycle has significance for us. We're moving into the manifestation quarter of the 28-day lunar cycle. This full moon quarter can start over a 2-day period, with the moon being exactly full after the start of the phase. So it can be 24 hours after the phase, it can be 12 hours. It depends on the day and how illuminated the moon actually is. But the phase itself is a quarter of the 28-day lunar cycle, which lasts 7 days. In our inner realms, the significance and symbolism is an emotional tension during a time of promise. And it can affect us as a crisis theme when we realise we have to relax to see how what we started at new moon has grown enough to manifest. We seem to experience challenges to the new idea we've been evolving since new moon, or it can be a theme. And emotionally, we experience this as a crisis of lack, a time when we suddenly realise a great need or a want, and the impact of the crisis can act with tension. We feel the tension of the crisis. We seem to be challenged emotionally in our psyches, in the inner realm, and it can be in such a way that it will sever a relationship. But it can also bring two people together because of it, with a sudden awareness of, say, a great need for each other. And that can also be in work-life balance, that kind of thing. You're obviously, we are coming out of a creative phase, but we suddenly realise there's a lack, so the tension can actually bring things together as well. Anything that goes, that is severed, has to go, because the manifestation phase that's coming up needs that pathway, or us not getting in the way on our path, relaxing to let the manifestation happen. So these are the rhythms of the full moon phase moving up to last quarter. Just before the full moon, we come out of what is called the pollinating phase of our lunar cycle, and we enter a 7-day manifestation quarter phase. And just before the full moon, our energy has the qualities of vision and enthusiasm. As the energy of the phase winds down, so just before full moon, building up to the full moon, what it actually does is matures our efforts into our vision and enthusiasm. Do I have enough to manifest my vision? As usual in our practice and life, it's this intermixing of the opposites that creates the magic that will bear the fruit of our passions. Nothing's ever straightforward, is it? Have I got enough enthusiasm? Has my vision been enough? The day and night period just before the full moon is the most powerful. It can be exhilarating energy, a dynamic social and magical, even alchemical time. The full moon marks the point of culmination in the lunar cycle, or the climax, the point of excitement, a time of celebration. So we release the tension, then we relax. Just after the full moon, we enter the beginning of the fruit-bearing phase of our lunar cycle. This is the time when we realise the theme, realisation as in manifestation. The day just after the full moon is a time just to kick back and relax. And this phase begins when it actually feels as if we're waking from a deep sleep. It's a time for the realization of the theme to emerge. So that theme is going to be whatever you were given the inspiration for at new moon. So when we're talking about theme, it's theme, idea, inspiration. Now's the time for the realization of that to emerge. What are the activities of the first half of the lunar cycle really about? What has culminated into the enthusiasm of the full moon? What has this really been about, and what are we learning? Relax and allow this realization to occur. There is no need to force it. It surfaces on its own. For this phase, for this part of the cycle, our practices are going to be just before full moon. Ithaca, a reading from a poem by the Greek poet Kavafis, which is based on the Odyssey, the hero's journey, and it's a journey poem of the soul. The tension that is always on the journey before we actually get to the destination. We have the full moon 24-hour detox for those of us who like to realign and balance at this powerful point in the lunar cycle. And just after the full moon, for the quarter phase, for this 7-day quarter phase, relaxing with the Yoga Nidra with the Om. I'm uploading a beautiful track that I had composed for my relaxations, 18, 17, anyway, whatever years ago. And I used it so often in my Hatha Yoga classes. I actually had it composed and recorded to use as the background for my meditations and relaxations. And this version is a 10-minute version. I call it Blissful Music because we've produced it at the magic 432 hertz in the solfeggio frequency, which is for this magical balance that we need. We have a Shavasana reading. Shavasana is the deep relaxation part of our classes, yoga, hatha yoga, or meditation, yoga of the mind. And this is a reading from Khalil Gibran. I believe it's Gibran. I've always said Gibran, but that's my Yorkshire accent. So you may say Khalil Gibran. I believe it might be Khalil Gibran. And this is from the Prophet, and I call it Self is a Sea. We have a contemplation for the sadness that we can feel when we let go of tension and surrender to relaxation for this manifestation. It can be a time when it feels so deflated. We feel just sadness, for this, and I call it the regarder of the cries of the world. It's a contemplation in the goddess of compassion energy. And we have the Hamsa flying bird meditation. Hamsa, I'm pronouncing that in English, is actually a version of the mantra. I'll do it the way we do it with the breath. Hung. So ham, so hung. And the other way around, it's hung, so. And we use it this way with the flying bird visualization, which takes our cares and fears and worry away as the little flying bird goes with our breath out into the blue sky. So it's another of those beautiful concepts in yoga of how we actually deal with our negative emotions. And it's so sweet and lovely. It's so nice that you can just turn a breath around and we get the opposite. So instead of our fears, worries, cares and woes and sadness, we get the beautiful blue sky and the sweetness of the breath. Namaste. And as we are in the flow of the days up to last quarter moon next week, I'll upload practice when I tune into it, if we need it for the qualities of the energy of the days in this phase. And it's a good time to remind you that these phases in our 28-day cycle, these are 7 days. They give us the structure to our cycle. The moon rhythms, so the moon moving through the 12 signs of the moon every 28-day cycle gives us the rhythm of our flow. And so this is for your healing of flow and bliss. Namaste. Susan.